A capuchin monkey in a lab cage just threw a slice of cucumber at a researcher's face. She did it because the monkey in the next cage got a grape for the same job. And she noticed. But what if that isn't a tantrum? What if it isn't jealousy or hunger or some primitive flash of monkey rage? What if she knows, in some quiet animal way, that she has just been cheated? What if she understands the word unfair without ever having heard it spoken? And if she does, then where exactly did we get the idea that fairness belongs to us? Here is the uncomfortable thought. We assume morality is a human invention, a thing we built with stories and laws and gods. But what if fairness is older than any of that? What if the small voice that says this isn't right is not philosophy at all, but an instinct you share with a monkey, a dog, a crow, a rat? 2003, Emory University. Two primatologists, Brosnan and de Waal, publish a short paper in Nature. The title lands like a quiet bomb. Monkeys reject unequal pay. Capuchin monkeys, side by side, traded small pebbles for food. When both got cucumber, they kept working all day. Then one got a grape. Same task, same pebble, better pay. The cucumber monkey watched the trade happen right next to her. Something changed. She handed over her pebble, got cucumber. She looked at it. She looked at the grape next door. Then she stopped playing. In some sessions, she hurled the cucumber back through the bars. Baseline refusal sat near 5%. In the unequal condition, it climbed to 45. The monkeys were turning down free food, just to register that something was wrong. Think about what that means. A capuchin has no word for fair, no legal system, no philosophy of justice. But she knows, with her whole body, that the deal in front of her is rotten, and she would rather go hungry than pretend it isn't. Brosnan called it inequity aversion, a clinical name for something that looks suspiciously like the start of a conscience. Now, not everyone buys this. Some researchers argue it isn't fairness at all, just frustration over a broken expectation. Roma and colleagues raised that question early on, and Alexandra Horowitz raised it again in 2012, looking at dogs. It is a real debate, but the pattern is too widespread across too many species to dismiss. In 2009, an Austrian researcher named Friederike Range ran a similar experiment with domestic dogs. Two dogs, side by side, asked to give a paw. When both got a reward, they happily kept playing. When one got a sausage and the other got nothing, the unrewarded dog stopped offering its paw. It looked away. It got restless. It quit. The snubbed dog had gone on strike. But here is the honest part. The dogs only reacted to reward versus no reward. Give them both a treat of different quality, and they didn't seem to care. So this is a cousin of the capuchin response. Not a copy. Either way, your dog has a line. A point where it would rather have nothing than have less. And it knows that line without ever being taught it. Then there are the ravens. At the University of Vienna, the cognitive biologist Bugnyar and his team taught ravens to trade tokens with a human for food. Until one day the human cheated, took the token, kept the food, walked away without paying. The ravens remembered. Days later, they still refused to trade with that same person, and picked a different human entirely. They had built a private ledger of who was trustworthy and who was not. And it isn't just one bird. Bugnar's group has watched ravens for years. The birds share food more readily with ravens who have shared with them before. Tit for tat. Bookkeeping with feathers. What if a brain the size of a walnut is doing accounting we thought required courts and contracts? Chimpanzees, in Brosnan's 2005 follow-up in PNAs, refused rewards when a partner got something better. Some pushed the food away. Some walked off. And here is the twist that should keep you up at night. Dogs that grew up with humans actually tolerate inequity a little better than wolves do. As if domestication taught them to swallow it, to accept the cucumber, to wait quietly until the human noticed. And rats, even rats. Researchers in Frankfurt working with lab rats in a cooperative task found the animals would refuse sugar pellets when a neighbor rat got nothing. They would rather both go without than eat alone. A rat, choosing solidarity in a cage, with nothing to gain except whatever it is that makes a rat refuse to be the lucky one. Look at what every one of these animals is doing. They give up reward. They walk away from food. They refuse, with their bodies and their silence, to participate in a deal they consider wrong. They have no language for it. But the response is so consistent across species, across millions of years of separate evolution, that biologists think it means something real. Fairness, or something close to it, may be the price of cooperation. Any species that lives in groups, that shares food, that hunts together, needs a way to detect cheaters before the cheaters take everything. And the cheapest detector is a feeling, a flash of no, a sour taste in the mouth when the math doesn't add up. You do not need language for that. You just need a nervous system that has lived in a group long enough to learn the cost of being used. So when you feel that flash, when a coworker takes credit for your work, when someone cuts in line, when the bill at dinner is split wrong, that feeling is not new. It is not modern. It is not even particularly human. It is something a capuchin felt in a lab in 2003, something a raven felt in Vienna, something a rat felt in Frankfurt. It has been running in the background for far longer than we have been around to name it, which leaves the harder question. If a monkey can feel cheated, if a dog can feel snubbed, if a raven can hold a grudge for days over a stolen treat, then what have we been doing? We built our ethics on the idea that they couldn't feel this, that fairness was ours. The science is quietly saying it isn't. The science is quietly saying they have been watching us trade rocks for grapes for a very long time. And they have noticed who keeps getting the cucumber. A slice of cucumber thrown back through the bars in a lab in Atlanta. No word for it. No theory of justice. Just a small monkey and a quiet refusal. She knows. And so, it turns out, do we.